Humans are amazing. Seriously, amazing. You, sir, amazing. You, incredible. But we're not perfect. We have limited cognitive space. We get tired, we get hungry, we get annoyed at the littlest things, and we make errors. And those errors can be costly. And in the context of the legal system, when we make errors, it can be enormously costly. It can cost you a fortune. It could even cost a life. See, law is very complex. It's full of gray area. It's very murky. And navigating the law can sometimes be quite difficult. Take tax law, for example. Are you 100% sure that you complied with the law fully when you filled out your tax returns? Turns out every year there are tens of thousands of individuals and businesses who fail to do so, and it can be quite costly. Now, you might go and hire an expensive lawyer, but there's no way that that lawyer has memorized every single one of the cases. There are tens of thousands every year. And lawyers make mistakes too. Judges make errors. And when a judge makes an error, someone's life and liberty can be at stake. And in the context of bail decisions, we know that judges can be quite inconsistent. Some judges are very strict, and some judges are very lenient. And judges get randomly assigned to defendants. How can it be that your life and liberty depend on the random assignment of a human judge? How can it be that your life and liberty depend essentially on a coin flip? Judges get tired. Judges get hungry. And when they do, they become more strict. Judges become more strict on a Monday when their football team loses on the weekend. How can it be that your life and liberty depend on whether a football team won? Justice demands consistency, and we, humans, as amazing but imperfect as we are just unable to deliver on that promise. The problems that I'm talking about are all prediction problems. The lawyer, the individual, the business has to predict what the law is in order to comply with the law. The judge has to predict the consequences of her actions. If I release this person, will they flee? Will they commit a crime? Prediction problems. And we have developed technology specifically designed to deal with prediction problems. Supervised machine learning is that prediction technology, and it's everywhere. When your email filters out spam, it's machine learning technology that is making a prediction that this email looks very similar to other emails that you've classified as spam. When facial recognition says, I think this is Niblett, it's machine learning technology that is making a prediction that the zeros and ones that make up that image look very similar to the zeros and ones that make up other images of me. Legal problems are prediction problems. Machine learning technology is prediction technology. And today, I want to talk to you about how we can use machine learning to reduce some of the errors, some of the human errors in the law. Now, when I tell people that I work on machine learning and the future of law, or I work on artificial intelligence and the law, this is what people think. You think of RoboCop or Terminator or Blade Runner or Big Brother. They have these dystopian visions of algorithms and machines controlling every aspect of our lives, destroying our autonomy, eroding our privacy, and obliterating our human rights. That's not what I see. When I think of machine learning and the future of law, this is my vision. Look how happy these people are. They are using technology to learn their legal rights, and they are happy because they live in a world where the legal system is better designed, better administered, and more fair. I want to give you two examples of how we can use prediction technology in the law. First, prediction technology can help us learn what the law is. It can help us comply with the law. And I want to give you an example from tax law. In tax law, an incredibly important question is whether you're an independent contractor or you're an employee. An independent contractor is somebody who works for themselves but contracts with a firm. An employee is somebody who works in the firm doing designated tasks. And for some workers, it's very clear. You're either an independent contractor or you're an employee. It's black or white, very clear. But for many workers, massage therapists, music teachers, delivery drivers, the law is actually a gray area. Why is it a gray area? Well, it doesn't depend so much on what is written in your contract. What really matters is the overall circumstances. It depends on the facts. It depends on what's called the total relationship between the firm and the worker. It's an incredibly vague standard. And it depends on things like how much control does the firm exert over the worker? How much freedom does the worker have? Who owns the relevant tools? How much risk is the worker taking on? How is the worker paid? It depends on so many different factors. And real life is complex and real life is messy. And it turns out the consequences, if you get it wrong, can be dire. It's not just your tax liability or your tax deductions, your pension, your benefits, workers' comp, all depend on this classification. Firms, too, if they make a misclassification, they are liable to pay an enormous fine. So you want to get it right. You want to make your prediction right. So what do? You might look at previous cases to see how courts have acted in the past. The problem is that there are thousands of potentially relevant cases. And this can be an enormous hurdle for a human lawyer. But it's great for machine prediction. Because in the same way that we can turn images into data and then predict whose face it is, we can turn legal cases into data and predict what a court will do in your case. Simply fill out a short survey, 5 minutes, basically describing the facts of the case, the facts of your case, the facts of your total relationship between you and a firm. Press compute, and within a few minutes, well, a few seconds, you get your answer. It compares the facts of your case to the facts of every previous case that's gone before. And the machine learning technology makes a prediction. What would happen if your case went to court? And the technology is extremely accurate. It gets 90 to 95% of cases correct. Cases that it's never seen before. It's not science fiction. It's not a pipe dream. There is great uncertainty in the law. There's a lot of gray area, but we can turn that gray area into black and white. In the same way that we no longer use paper roadmaps to get from point A to point B, instead we use technology that is specific to our needs and specific to our problem. In the future, we'll be able to use technology to learn our legal rights. Siri, am I an independent contractor or an employee? You are an employee. We navigate the roads using the maps. We can navigate the law using technology too. Look how happy she is. She just discovered she's an employee. She gets to keep all those benefits. Machine learning technology can help us learn what the law is. And if we're happy with the way that human judges have decided cases in the past, those of us who administer the justice system can use this kind of technology to let people know their legal rights. But what if we're not happy with the way that human judges have decided cases in the past? Can we use prediction technology to improve the law? Can we use prediction technology to tell us what the law should be? And the answer is yes. And a nice example of this comes from the way that human judges have decided bail cases in the United States. A judge gets a few minutes to decide whether a defendant is a flight risk or not. If I let this person go, will they flee? Will they commit a crime? And they have to take into account so many different factors. They have to take into account, what kind of person is this? What are their habits? What's their mental condition? Do they have a job? Their social ties, their criminal record, have they jumped bail before? Are they likely guilty? How serious is the alleged crime? How on earth is a human judge supposed to take into account all those factors in a few minutes and make an accurate prediction as to whether the defendant in front of them is a flight risk or not? It's not surprising, therefore, that human judges make errors. They release and grant bail to defendants who are high risk, and they deny bail to defendants who are low risk. Can we use prediction technology to better predict the flight risk and better determine whether we should be granting bail? And the answer is yes. We have millions of observations. We know what happens when we release people on bail. And we can use that data to form the backbone of a better machine learning algorithm. If your concern is that we grant bail to too many people and they commit crimes while out on bail, well, I got good news. You can reduce the crime rate in this subset of the population by 25% without any increase in the jail population. How? By granting bail to lower risk defendants and keeping in higher risk defendants. If your concern, though, is that we just keep too many people in jail, well, I've also got good news. You can reduce the jail population by about 42% without any increase in the crime rate. Better predictions help make better law. And algorithms are consistent. They treat like cases alike. Algorithms don't get tired. Algorithms don't get hungry. And algorithms don't care which football team won on the weekend. Now, you might be looking at this and saying, oh, yes, but I've heard about bail algorithms. And I've heard about sentencing algorithms. And I know that they're racially biased. You might be looking at this and saying, well, yes, you can decrease the crime rate, but maybe that's at the expense of racial disparity. It turns out when the predictions are good, like in this case, the opposite can be true. And here, these researchers show that you can reduce the crime rate, you can reduce jail population, and you can reduce racial disparity all at the same time. The prediction technology not only is better at predicting flight risk, it can be used to correct the biases of human judges. When we make better predictions, we make better law. Now, this is quite a hopeful story, and none of this is to deny that there are some limitations on data and there are limitations on prediction technology. And there are important trade-offs we will have to make between privacy and information. And there are important questions about human autonomy. Should we just trust the algorithm, or should we take it as a recommendation or a suggestion? And we have to recognize that machines will still make errors. Fewer errors than humans, but still make errors, and we have to learn how to stomach those errors. And we have to learn to trust an algorithm. But in the same way that we all trust robotic traffic lights, over time, we will come to trust good prediction technology. I'm sure you're like me, you'd much prefer to be driving at 60 kilometers an hour through a robotic traffic light than if that traffic light was human operated. But that's not the biggest hurdle. None of that is the biggest hurdle. The biggest hurdle for machine learning and law is a human one. What do we actually want law to do? What is the objective of the law? What does an error look like? The bail example is nice because the objective is clear: minimize flight risk. But that is not true of all laws. It's not true that every law has such a clear objective. And that will rely on us as a society coming together and agreeing on what it is we want law to do. This is the human input into law. In the same way that self-driving cars still need a human to enter the destination, we will still need humans to set the objective of the law. We should not fear machines or machine learning in the legal system. We are not taking the human out of the law. All we are doing is taking some of the human error out of the law. Thank you very much.